We've opened with prayer, and if you're watching this later on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We're honored to have everybody here today and participating in this, our first parish town hall via Zoom. Hopefully, we'll have these at intermittent intervals moving forward, so you all can see and participate and get to know a little bit more of all the things that are going on. The reason we're having this meeting is because of interactions that the wardens and I have had in several quarters of the parish. Some folks who are very digitally conscious and are with us now today, others who may not be, but who may have a smartphone and can watch this later, or conversely, have neighbors and friends and can communicate. We're trying to create as many ripples as we can of communication moving forward in order that we're all about the same place and about the same speed moving forward with mission and ministry here at St. Peter's. One of the conversations that popped up, realizing that people were at varying distances behind where we are at the front end of our prow of this vessel of our parish, and we don't want to see too much churning in the wake. We want to make sure everybody's up to speed. So wanted to bring you up to speed on a couple things. One of those is that we have had online worship since mid-March, and I want to thank my beloved wife for being our congregation. She is the amener, and we're very grateful for her presence and her support. If it hadn't been for her, we wouldn't have been able to do these online worship services on Sunday and be able to share our regular routine of Eucharist, even if it's virtual. We would have been in a different space and in a different way. As well, I also want to thank Allison and Lisa, Bill Carr, Ron Panico, Nancy Sarnak, and a whole host of other people who have been incredible supporters of our daily services. We do morning prayer and evening prayer. Morning prayer, we have anywhere from 5 to 12 to 14 people showing up. Evening prayer is a little more lightly attended. We usually have between 4 and 6 who show up, and then noonday prayers as well as Sunday services are also recorded and put up onto the web. The good news is not only are we seeing people participating in real time, we're also seeing people clicking on those services and viewing them once they have been placed either on Facebook or on YouTube, and we're really appreciative to be able to provide that content. The other thing we did at the very beginning through the end of the school year is we had Bible O'Clock with Father Marshall. That was with a couple of households who made the commitment to follow through on religious formation. It gave the kids something to do during the first stage of the quarantine. And it actually gave us a good model of some of the things we're going to try to do moving into the fall for formation. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge everybody who's been involved in the online worship, including a new producers ministry that has just started, folks that are going to be overseeing the laptop and the cameras and the microphones that enable us to do streaming and to make sure that happens. And also, as we move into in-person service, we're also doing everything we can to make sure that that is safe and that we continue to broadcast as well. So Craig, if you want to unmute a little bit, can we talk a little bit about what we're doing in terms of live worship? Because we've had 1 week of experience already in this. And Kathy as well, if you want to offer any comment. We took some time in vestry to talk about this, and I just wanted to sort of thank Craig particularly for doing all the measuring, as well as for Christine's husband, who helped us with CAD drawings for our preparations to make sure we had all the measurements right. Craig, you want to say anything about the live worship?
Live worship, as Father said, we started off with some of my hand drawings, and Chris took it one step further with aerials, and I do greatly appreciate, and I refer to it as the teamwork, pulling off what we did last Sunday. We had 41 people in attendance on Sunday. We've made one adjustment that I will say is an official, well, there's a couple of adjustments. One, we've said 2 people per space instead of 3 or 4 to eliminate it. So, and we did have extra open spaces so we can spread out. 2, we're adjusting the microphone, and 3, we realized when we did the piece, the camera was staring off at the cross and no one else. So we're going to make sure we handle the microphone, the camera, and spacing a little bit better going forward. But for the first outdoor performance, our service, it went very well.
Kathy Decker?
I thought it was beautiful. I thought we were blessed with the day. We had some terrific weather, and It was so nice to see everyone, and I think everyone was so glad to see each other. But and Kirk mentioned too, I felt badly after we talked about the piece, because the piece was, we were all piecing each other, but nobody on the camera could see what was happening, and so that was a little lonely. So we've decided we're going to do it romper room style and talk right into the camera and say, you know, we see you at home. Like, I see you, Laura Shelley. I know what you're thinking. I don't know what it is, but I see you. You want me to take a guess? No.
That's great. So really, that's yeah, that's the key. And I just want to hold that up. That one of the things that we're really focusing on is making sure that we learn as we go. We can't really cover all the bases all at once and all the time. So one of the things we're really relying on, and if anyone has any feedback in this, please do type it into the Zoom chat, and we'll make sure that that gets recorded and held up. But one of the things that has been a real blessing is really the creativity and the commitment to just sort of laughing through the process of trying our best and finding our way. It's been challenging. The other thing I wanted to point to in terms of online is we're working on expanding our Bible study and adult formation time, as well as our Sunday school. This coming Monday at 7, there's going to be a Sunday school gathering, which for families that are interested in formation, they can participate in that. We're going to try to move as much as we can online. As Kathy's going to point out when we get to the part about the thrift shop, we've had to make some space allocation choices because we do not foresee in the near future Sunday school being able to gather, not at least until we have some form of coherent vaccine response and the ability to provide a safer environment for our kids and our adults. So we've actually used a significant portion of the Sunday school now for thrift shop processing and storage, because we are literally inundated with donations, and to do the flow through and follow through of those donations, getting them prepped for space upstairs. So that's something you're going to hear about in a little bit with the thrift shop reopening. But with Sunday school, that means that we're going to have to figure out how to do things a little more virtually. Some of that is going to be Bible o'clock. We've had conversations as well about trying to create craft time with kids and working on different levels. And the other thing we've made a decision about, and we're going to confirm with the parents, is we're probably going to postpone communion class in 2021 and maybe aim for 2022, late 2021 or early 2022, before we have that class again, because we just want to make sure everyone is safe. And of course, that is one of our bigger Sundays in terms of attendance. So the other thing that I wanted to point to is a lot of the work that's going on in the vestry. And I'm going to ask Kathy Decker and Kirk Bonamici if they could unmute themselves. And the first thing I want to go to is, Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit about the thrift shop and the reopening process that we've gone through?
Sure. So anyone, I don't know if everyone has had a chance to get and see what we've done in the thrift shop, but the thrift shop was a priority for opening, not only because my mother-in-law, who runs the thrift shop, was calling me every single day to ask me when the store was going to open, because she was bored out of her mind and couldn't I please do something within my power to get this place open. But really, just in terms of the financial contribution that the thrift shop means to the functions of the parish are so critical. But of course, safety is an issue. So because we're not gathering in person, we were able to take over the entire space. And when I say we take over the entire space, I say we took over the entire space, save the kitchen, which my mother would kill me. So we're not in the kitchen, but we're mostly every place else. I do have one room that Craig Kafafian has said I'm not allowed to touch, because that's where we're going to be putting things in from the church. But pretty much I've taken over everything else. And truly, people, the thrift shop ladies were concerned that people were not going to come back for donations. But that has not been the case at all. We have been inundated with donations, and some of the donations have been really nice, some really nice things. So I think, Kirk, how much over the openings have we deposited?
From the first
thrift
4
shop?
days, first 4 days, which was Saturday, August 1st,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, and the following Saturday, $1,821.
So we're beginning, and it makes a difference. And I think as we go on, we're going to see momentum, because people are going to know that it's open. Yes,
Kathy,
Craig?
those are all at $1 a piece.
Right. Well, this is the thing. Through the summer, we're having a summer spectacular clothing sale. And so every item of clothing is $1. So in real terms, Craig is right that if we were selling the way that we were typically pricing items, we probably would have made double, maybe triple that. But in fact, we do need to get rid of the inventory so that we can make way for the winter sale. But in any event, we're hopeful. The biggest challenge we have for the thrift shop now is we need volunteers. This is a lot of work for the people who are coming in, and some of our stalwart volunteers have not been able to come back for safety reasons, including people like Mrs. Schmidt. But we could use some more volunteers. I have young people coming in, 2 more volunteers through Maureen's channels on Saturday, but I would ask that everybody put out the word for volunteers for the thrift shop. We need them.
Thank you. And Kirk, if you could unmute and just speak a little bit to Parish Income. Both you just noted the thrift shop being reopened, but we've done some cash projections and also focusing on cash on hand and also stewardship at the moment. So you're wearing 2 hats, treasurer and financial secretary. Can you speak to those points and just sort of bring us up to date on what's happening?
Sure. So again, a lot of people necessarily were concerned how congregational giving was going to hold up in the face of not being able to have face-to-face services. The advent, if you will, of doing online giving has been, sort of the saving grace here for us. In the past, we had been somewhat resistant, honestly, about it because of the fees that the merchants were going to charge us. But that argument basically had to go out the window when we started doing virtual services, and we needed to provide an avenue for our fellow parishioners to give that didn't include mailing in or dropping off. So as we've been monitoring this since March, we've looked to see what percentage of our budget on a month-to-month basis we've been able to continue to realize in congregational giving. And it's pretty much averaged in between, say, about 80 and 85% of what we budgeted, which based on some trends that I've seen across the diocese is really positive for us. Obviously, St. Peter's, like every church in the diocese, lost the plate, if you will. Cash collections, basically, disappeared. But for us, it was never a big part of our budget anyway. Most of our giving was either from those parishioners who had made commitments or necessarily those who hadn't made a commitment but were still using envelopes. So we still have that ability for people to support the church through their giving. And that's been, going, probably a little better than what we expected. The thrift shop income, obviously that dried up right after the 1st of March. It provided about $1,000 a week towards the mission and ministry of the church. So obviously getting back to it here in August has been critical. But we did offset it, in effect, with the Paycheck Protection Program loan that we got. That was almost $30,000. And all of that loan we expect ultimately to be forgiven by Kearney Bank when they process our application for the forgiveness, which we hope will be sometime soon. It was submitted last month. So that's basically been the income side of things for the church. I have been asked how our expense side really stacked up. And, there were just certain expenses of the church which are really fixed in nature. They're not going to change whether we're open or not. But those few things that are more variable, particularly utilities, we have seen savings as our church buildings were being either minimally used or not used at all. Other things like insurance and compensation for the most part, also yard care. These are things that we're committed to, and we're just not going to, not have those as part of our month-to-month expenses. So overall, the big expense savings was really more driven by the fact that we had a very mild winter. We budget close to $10,000 for snow removal, and to date, the only expense we incurred was having our snow folks come out in January and ice or de-ice everything in anticipation of a storm that never materialized. So we were blessed, if you will, to get through the winter with very, very minor snowplow costs. And so that's been good for us. Amongst our cash flow position, again, this is something that we've been monitoring very closely. Today is, it's August 12th today. But with the current general purpose account, the mid-August payroll taxes and payroll have all been set up, but we still have close to $29,000 in our general purpose account. And that will certainly now be augmented by, again, thrift shop revenues coming in again to help, as well as hopefully we'll see, again, our giving continue on the strong trends. Anything else particularly, Father, that you wanted me to comment to?
Yeah, the EIDL loan as well, so you can speak to that.
So in addition to the Paycheck Protection Program loan that we got, in the CARES Act, Congress created economic injury disaster loans. And in the early incarnation of this, there was sort of a tie-in to the forgiveness aspect of these loans with the Paycheck Protection Program loans, if you were using the money for continuing compensation, also utilities, equipment rents, and other rents that you might have for facilities. We waited here to apply for one of these EIDL loans. We wanted to have the Paycheck Protection Program period behind us and have made the application for forgiveness. But then we went for a loan to help augment the working capital needs, particularly of building up our thrift shop capabilities. And that will include the installation of new bathroom facilities in the parish hall, as well as sort of building it out a little better for storage and for creating a total sales space that will sort of maximize our potential here as much as we can within the confines of the building. The amount of the loan that we applied for, were approved for, and recently received was $25,000. We did not have to provide any collateral at that level. That was sort of the top number that you could apply for and not provide collateral. Any collateral-based issues are ones that you have to also go through the diocese for approval. So we sort of capped at that level. The loan is, pardon me, a 30-year loan. The payments start 12 months after date of funding, so this would be a year from now. The interest rate is at 2.75%, which is phenomenal. And the monthly payments, when they do start, will only be $107 a month, which was something we felt that we could handle in our budget pretty effectively, given a year of trying to achieve our new normal, if you will. So.
That's good. That's great. And that's actually a great segue. Craig, if you could come up online, and Kathy, we'll talk a little bit about what we're hoping to do about the bathrooms and the parish
Before we
hall.
do that, Father, and I don't mean to be pain. Does anyone have any questions? That was a lot of information in a little bit of time.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, let's throw it
like
out.
that was a lot to absorb. Does anybody
Are there
have
any questions? Feel free to unmute and ask the question if you have one.
Chris has a very like still look in her face because she's like, I know everything. I don't have any questions.
All right, so we're actually going to switch. If there are no questions, and if there are any need clarification, please always feel free to contact Kurt directly, myself, or the wardens directly. Happy to answer any questions as well. Record them in the group chat and make sure we know that. And we'll have a little time for Q&A at the end. So if you're still mulling one over and how to frame it, feel free to hold on to that and ask it when you feel more comfortable. Speaking to the capital project that Kirk alluded to, which is some work in the parish hall, inside the parish hall, we have a lot of work we need to do capital-wise around the property, but we're going to be starting on the first thing that we need to do for mission and ministry, which is addressing the bathroom question and also addressing flow in the parish hall. So let's talk a little bit about that as we move into that journey. So Craig, you wanna swing at that one a little? And
so for 30 plus years, we have had one bathroom on campus. We've looked at options to add facilities at the church, and at that point, the historic restrictions with the church kind of prohibited us to some extent, but there had been looked at as far as what we could do maybe around the bell tower. But long and short, COVID has kind of pushed us forward, as you'll hear multiple times used in multiple contexts, now more than ever. With COVID, I remember sitting with a few people saying, you know, the governor can shut down the state and reopen and keep bathrooms closed because we know it's a hot spot. And obviously we're doing the same here, making sure people are safe and limiting access to the bathrooms. So that started the process of how do we get an ADA or Disability Americans with Disability Act approved bathroom. And ironically, it's 30 years since that law was signed in the motion, and we're finally trying to make that happen. So we have an ADA compliant bathroom, but not just one, but two that would also provide us with the ability to keep things clean. Part of what also came up during this is the bathrooms had been used, or the bathroom had been used previously for a fitting room for the thrift shop. That has been totally abolished, and even department stores have done away with some changing rooms because of the quarantining of clothing that somebody else has tried on. So we will not have fitting rooms. One of the early drawings did include changing rooms or fitting rooms for the thrift shop, but there's no fitting rooms. There'll be two bathrooms. We plan on allowing for some additional storage and also some additional space for the thrift shop. But right now, as Kathy said, the thrift shop has taken over the entire upstairs other than the kitchen, the downstairs chapel, and one other room. And pulling that back in will be a challenge at the end of the year when that happens, or even into the beginning of next year with the success of that. But we do plan on adding two bathrooms and making room so that we can enlarge the kitchen so we can have more than 2 people or 3 people working in the kitchen at any one time. The plan also will have the ability to, or the design that will move the countertop or coffee serving area or buffet style, if that ever comes back, to the piano wall. So we'll change the flow in the parish hall when we have gatherings. Then it won't be gathering right in front of the bathroom or the hallway going to the kitchen. So right now the architect is working on the drawings. We'll then take it to bids and also to permitting, and hopefully before too long we'll finally quote unquote land this plane and get ADA compliant bathrooms and a parish hall that we can all be proud of.
One of the things that we're very focused on is making sure, as we did after the flood, that everything we do, every brick, every nail, every board that we possess as a parish is committed as a tool for ministry. And we're not just expanding the bathrooms out of a sense of anything other than this is the next step for us to emerge from this crisis stronger than when we went into it. We're also looking to enhance the experience that folks have of the parish hall, and also include enhanced space and ease of use for our thrift shop. The other thing we're doing, looking down the line, is really how can we maximize the service that the thrift shop does, and really, we're trying to think of everything, if you will, outside the box of the parish hall, outside the box of the property, and making sure that we're poised for growth and for the expansion we need to stay vital and of service to community. It really was a lesson to us about the essential and vital nature of the thrift shop to Spotswood when we did reopen. The degree of relief and joy that volunteers, customers, and also clients who donated things hit us. So they were primed, they were ready. The first day we were open was over $1,000 of revenue. Over $790 came in on sales alone. Kathy, do you want to say anything about the Little League donation? Because that.
Yeah. So the Spotswood Charger UL. First of all, I have to just say, John Grennan, it's so nice to see you. Long time, man. How are you? Nice to see you. But anyway, so the Spotswood Chargers Little League team did a good thing this year, and they made masks that they were donating for contribution, and they raised $260, which they donated to the thrift shop. And the way that they did it, I'm waiting for a corrected letter to come back, because there was apparently a typo in it, but it was so cute. I don't know if you go on our website, which you'll see an example of soon, once it's there, you'll see a link to the story that appeared. But it was just so charming how these little boys talked about how they learned to give back in their community, and how these ladies were examples of the work that they hope to be able to do too. And so, yeah, they donated $260. It was a great photo op for us, and we were really, really thrilled with that. I just wanted to say one thing about the bathroom too, about the bathrooms and about the design of the church, because yes, we want to be able to use every single square inch of this building for the missions that we all take so seriously. But one of the things that I loved about the bathrooms is we really thought about, do we want a man's bathroom? Do we want an ADA bathroom? Do we want 2 bathrooms? Each bathroom is going to be a contained facility that can accommodate, hey Sandy, that can accommodate everyone who wants to use it. So there'll be a urinal and a traditional toilet and sink and changing area, so that if dad and a baby needs to go in to change a diaper, or if somebody who's differently abled needs to be able to use the facility, anyone who wants to use those bathrooms can use those bathrooms for the way they're intended, because that's part of what we want to be too, is inclusive wherever we can. And God help me, if I don't get rid of that blue tile, someone is that is going.
Yeah, don't worry, Kathy, it's not historic. You're safe. So one of the things that I wanted to speak to you about at where we're at right now is we're talking about all the things that are coming down the pipe, but one of the things I want to hold up is continuity. It's been a challenge and a blessing to be able to work to try to preserve continuity for our church, and we've been able to do that with our online worship. Again, thank you to Laura Bonamici, thank you Allison, thank you Ron, thank you Nancy, thank you Bill, thank you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even thank you to the people who are regulars for us on Facebook Live. There's folks that come inside and do the Zoom thing. They're on screen, but then there's a whole host of folks that are right behind that, that are backing everybody up, that are really, the band that is supporting this whole thing with their amens. Even down in Florida, Judy Fenton is a faithful attendee of chapel. Ron, Ray Jr., Ray Proprota in Alabama is watching as well. My mom and dad in Columbus, Ohio, they're showing up every once in a while, so we're blessed. But the sacramental life continues. During the COVID crisis, I've been able to perform 2 baptisms. I go to people's homes and perform those under the guidelines offered by the bishop. I did Fran Schwarzenberg's funeral, graveside, and was able to support the family in the grief. I'm sorry we weren't able to have everybody else here who would have attended, but we were able through prayer to support them. That was actually right in the midst of one of our tropical storms. I was able to go and visit Bruce Johnson, who is a longtime, lifetime member of this parish and community servant, member of the fire department. He contracted lung cancer and just passed away last week. But I was able to visit him in the hospital when they lifted the restrictions, and was able to be with him and then visit him at home and take him communion. So the sacramental life of the church continues, and it's going to continue. It's just taking different shapes and forms. So if you know of someone who needs a visit, please let me know. Contact me directly, and or contact Chris in the office, and we'll make that happen. Plus, as we're getting back to a new now, we're starting to reschedule and reset weddings. We've had to take some delays and hold some things in advance, but we already have some confirmations for weddings in October, and then some prospective ones in November for folks who are going simple, and then we'll have the party later. And maybe that's the whole point of this ethos of the sacramental pieces. Let's do the essential bits now, and we'll have the party later. We'll worry about that down the line, and that's kind of where things are floating. One of the things that we're looking forward to is being in person back in the church. And I want to thank the wardens and Chris and everybody for working so hard on our registration process, so that we've been able to do the dry runs and make sure that Sign Up Genius is working, which it is for us right now. The way to do that is through the e-news, which Laura Bonamici curates, and then eventually through the website. You can sign up and register for a space during worship. Right now, we're having one service on Sunday mornings that will still be broadcast, so you can either do it in person or do it virtually and participate. And though it's going to be fewer people in the church building, we'll try to make sure that we can keep it a rich environment for everybody to participate in. What we won't be doing is we won't be having any singing or any instrumental music requiring breath. So as much as I would love to have a flautist in or something like that, we've made the focused decision to wait on music until probably 2021, and that was a decision that was taken in concert with the wardens. On my part, we made the decision to release Arlene, and she and Craig and I met. She acknowledged it. We actually, she was actually very grateful in that we have actually paid her through the PPP and are paying her through August as a celebration of her ministry, to offer her supportive severance. It is not easy to have this be a change in chapter in our life together in Christ. It was one that was very difficult to have with her in terms of sharing that decision with her, but it was as warmly received as I could have expected, and we're wishing her well, even as we prepare for what a next chapter looks like. So feel free, if you've got thoughts on that, to share those with the wardens and I. Again, those of you who know me know that sacred music is very near and dear to my heart. It breaks my heart to be at this point and not being able to sound the organ, or to have anything but the simplest of instrumental music, and to wait until we can sing again. And believe me, on Sunday, those of you who are watching saw me coughing. It's the first time I've raised my voice to project in ages. I am unpracticed in sending my voice out beyond the microphone at my desk, and it's a lesson in keeping those muscles active to be able to offer that up. Are there any questions? If anyone would like to offer up any thoughts or questions before we move towards the end of this gathering, I do have a little special presentation to make, as Kathy made a mention of the new website. We're going to actually debut it tonight so people can see it, and then we'll be bringing it up online as soon as we've gotten the last little edits done. But are there any questions? We put a lot of information out to you guys, and I'm really I want to make sure we cover all the bases. Yes, Allison.
I have an idea about music. I'll talk to you later about it, okay?
That is great. No problem at all.
All right. Yeah. It's we'll see.
Okay. You got it. All right. So, and again, you know, one of the things that has been true of my life here as your priest, I've been here actually in this space. This is our back office area for months, but I would be remiss if I didn't point to Chris, who has been holding the office together and holding the parish together in so many ways. You know, she has soldiered on in an isolated space and has been doing great work. You know, she has not only my back, but she has everyone's back to make sure that everything is up to date. And truly, you know, if we can just take a minute and all show our reactions by giving her some applause. I'll clap my hands for her. Really, you know, it doesn't happen without really good souls in place, and we're so blessed. So thank you, Chris, for everything you do, and also thank you for putting up with me, which is saying something. Yeah. All right. So I am so happy. Let me make sure this is ready to go. I am so happy to share with you now something that has been in the works for several months now. And it is coming up online to you. Here is the new website for St. Peter's Episcopal Church. So I will click on here. I will scroll down so you can kind of get a sense of things. Kathy, do you want to say anything to this website as we move through it?
It's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. And if anybody has, and I thank Kirk because he sent me, anybody has images, we'll take some more images. Horizontals are best. And I'm sort of partial to it because it's hard to see like this, but I think it really feels the front page too. That was a shot I just happened to have on my camera, but I love it because it shows all the generations. It's the glow. It's got a glow of Christmas to it, but there's the children on the altar. I really, really love that. I feel like it kind of sucks us in. And then it has some real things that it can do, which is terrific. So it can really link people, because what Father didn't say is not only are we capturing everything for the digital space, but that will be forever. The church will always be real and also in the digital space. So it'll never not be that way. And the website is a good place to capture that. And for giving, oh, look, she was able to get that shot, was our first, that's great. I haven't seen it with this new picture in. But also for the giving too, I think, you know, going in the digital space and be able to set up a recurring schedule makes it great, because then no matter where you're capturing the worship part of it, the stewardship part is always taken care of then. So it's easy. And then everything about us is here. So I would encourage people, once we send out the link, look at that hair on Father Marshall in the back. Look at that. Kind of groovy. I have to just say thank you so much again to Chris, who did another round of eyeballs on it, because when you see something over and over and over, you don't catch everything. So there's some tweaks and things to make, but I think it feels more modern, a little fresher, a little more inclusive. If there are things that you see, say so. And if you have pictures, share them.
I think one of the things that I'm really happy about is if you go up and if I go up and look at the main page. Sorry if I'm giving anybody dizzy spells. But one of the things that I really appreciate is that in the context of this, all of our ability to be online as well as to be in person is summed up here. So we have the YouTube channel, we have our Facebook page, we have our e-news, and also we have our giving page. And going to what Kirk pointed out, this Realm Banco page has really been a blessing for us, because the online giving and also the regular sustained giving has been a real boon to really keep us going and keep us vital. And it's because of our congregation that we're in that space and experiencing that. So I just want to make sure, yeah, you are seeing that. Good. So it's really been a blessing, and seeing this thing take shape has been a real boon for us. I do love that picture. You know, it's about the best that we look in terms of our life as in Christ, and it sums it up. So we are approaching the end of our time together. Are there any thoughts that have popped up for people? Any? And yes, John, it is much more intuitive and much more easy to navigate. And believe me, I am incredibly relieved for that, because I've been the guy who's been responsible for maintaining and curating that website, and it is as clunky to edit and to upload as it is to operate. So I am very glad that we're moving on beyond that, and entering into a new generation of online experience for folks. Are there any other thoughts? Any final musings, Kathy or Craig?
Nope. It's just nice to see everybody.
Yeah, it really is.
Hi, Jean.
So and that's we're committed to romper room peace. So everybody sees everybody on that. So
I want to, since Jean's picture is over there, I want to reach out to Jean formally. One, happy birthday to you, belated happy birthday.
Yeah.
Number two, with all we've gone through in the last 6 months, Jean was the usher that took the trek over to the bell tower and started Sunday morning service with the ringing of the bell. And I don't know whether anybody else felt it, but when the bell rang, that was a sound that we had not heard in so long. It truly kind of showed a commencement of the beginning of the new now as we move forward. And I thank Jean for taking that initiative to get over there and truly bring us back together.
That was a real blessing, and I'll also hold up, if you haven't been yet to in-person worship, please make it a point to sign up and participate. Kathy was actually teasing me a little bit at the vestry meeting. I got a little verklempt during communion, because I realized for something that Laura and I have worked very hard to preserve, and we've been experiencing, there are folks that haven't received in 6 months, and it was both heartbreaking and heart affirming to be able to extend that gift of communion to folks, even if it was a little lemon scented from the hand sanitizer.
I kind of like that. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, when I put it to him, I was like, lemony.
No, my favorite part was, put your hand over it and it'll protect it. Like,
I did not do that.
As we were walking back.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny, is like, and then sadly they were already moist from all of the humidity, and I can only imagine how just blah they were by the time people got back to their seats. But in any event, I am so blessed to be the rector of this church, and to be able to laugh and cry and walk with you all, and I just want to hold up that as I always am. I always love this church. I always love St. Peter's, but I am always just overjoyed to be able to see how this parish responds in crisis moments. Everything that we are presented, no matter how daunting or challenging, is embraced as an opportunity, a gift, to be more vibrant, more vital, and just overcome by the grace of God. What a great thing that we had a flood and we got to transform ourselves to welcome others. What a great thing, and I'm not saying wonderful, but great, huge. What a great thing that we're going through this crisis together, because it challenges us to be transformative. On the tail end of this is the summons that we have to be a better community of grace and a commitment. I want to commend Jennifer Alexander and the board of Community Folk Ministries. We haven't talked too much about it yet, but throughout this crisis, Jen and Andrea and the whole crew have worked so hard to make sure that food stays on the shelves, for the food pantry. Alice's Cup has never closed a single day because of a lack of volunteers. In fact, our volunteer base increased during the crisis, even with folks that had to stay away because they had to be careful about their comorbidities. Others stepped up and really served. And of course, I want to give thanks to Jeannie and the whole community supper crew for being ready to kick it off and start with August. Really, you know, Kathy, you guys were there. You and David were running food back and forth. Cliff and Nancy Byrock. Cliff, who should not be doing anything but resting, was hovering by the kitchen door, begging for the opportunity to carry bags to cars.
I was like, I don't think so.
People are aching to volunteer, and please know that everyone is most welcome, and we are so blessed. Overwhelmed. So thank you, everybody. Please pat yourselves on the back, raise your hands in praise to God, and give thanks to all. We are so blessed to be St. Peter's at this moment in its history, and to be able to share this moment with this incredible community of people. We're so blessed. If you want to join in on the Sunday School Zoom, please send me a message. Christina Moffa-Johnson is doing a great job in gathering that community. That's going to be happening on a Monday night. I also want to thank Niels Johnson and Rosita and Jean and the wardens for their work on stewardship. I'm going to close off with just letting you know that stewardship is proceeding apace. Our theme for this year is now more than ever. And we're looking towards the beginning of September. I think we meet in September 13th in person. I think we'll leave September 20th. We're looking towards the launch of our stewardship annual drive. And you're going to see a few things that have changed a bit, but the big focus is going to be on participation and growth. And again, my commitment to you all and for St. Peter's in the coming months is that, as we have in the past, we will come through this crisis and emerge stronger than when we went into it. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time tonight. If you're watching anyone later on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. I'll upload this and you can review it in case there was anything you missed. If there is nothing else, I will close this in prayer. Anybody got anything? All right.
In romper room style. Hi, Art. Hi, Kathy and Tom. Hi, Luann. Hi, Rich. I miss you, Carrie. I could keep going.
Perfect. It's great. Yep. All right. Here we go. The Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Oh God, your unfailing.
with you.
There you go. Oh God, your unfailing providence sustains the world we live in and the life we live. Watch over those both night and day who work while others sleep, and grant that we may never forget that our common life depends upon each other's toil through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord sustain us in all
Amen.
things and guide us forward in paths of righteousness and peace. Go in peace, my brothers and sisters, to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks, everybody. God
Bye-bye.
bless and bye-bye.
See you tomorrow morning at service.
See you in the morning.